Come on by and have a bite at the Crossroad Diner, where your spirit goes when it might be time to change direction. Hey everybody, Steve McCurdy with the Crossroad Diner. We're back with Rima. She visited us a while back. She's my first return guest. You ought to be honored by
Yay!
that because she really intrigued me. She talked to us about this fascinating notion. Now, your mother taught you this, right? Is that
It
right?
was from a book that my mother brought back home when I was 12.
Okay, so based on what you told us in your interview, this is something that your mother thought you'd be interested in, but did she not practice it herself?
I don't think she has, actually. I think she's done
I
it
know
years later.
that's what struck me. Her mission was to convey this to you. You applied it and ended up traveling a lot of places in the world in search of your your why, what you were curious about. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think life is funny that way because I don't know what about you, but I sometimes definitely find a method and I'm like, oh, I go to this person, I'm like, you should try it. It speaks you. And I never try it myself. And I don't know why that works that way, but it's just like you feel like some person might be more valuable for them than you at that point of your life.
So do you remember what book this came from? Who the practitioner was that taught it?
Yeah, I do. I actually have it right in front of me. It's in
Super.
Lithuanian though, so that won't be very helpful.
Okay.
But the guy is Russian. It's Valery Sinelnikov, I guess. That's how you would pronounce it in Russian.
Okay.
And as I said, it was all about how to heal diseases. So his whole thing is that we create our own disease. And like even disease, he says it's a dis-ease rather than a, it's a consequence of our thoughts, beliefs, and actions practice over time. And as I said, I thought, okay, so if you can use this method to talk to your unconscious mind to heal yourself, I'm like, why can't you just talk to it? And, whenever you have a problem, like I mentioned that I had a problem with boys when I was young, I was like, why couldn't I just figure that out? And apparently it worked. So I've been using it for everything for years now.
Okay, good. So walk us through it. How does it work?
Okay, so I'm just trying to think. I suppose I should just give a little bit of a context very briefly. So you want to do this in a quiet space when you're in a good mood, when you're not stressed out, especially if you're doing it for the first time ever. That would be very important.
Okay.
And you should know that our mind is 95% the unconscious and 5% the conscious. So trying to create change from the conscious mind only really affects your life 5%. So I'd say just like go in, dig deep, and go for the subconscious, right? And it's very, very easy. So first of all, I would just say have an intention to talk to your unconscious mind. Even if it feels a little bit woo-woo or like, I don't know what this girl on the internet is talking about, never mind that. Just try it out, see what happens. So the way our unconscious usually communicates with us, it could be through pictures. So you get a picture in your mind and it could be more clear or it could mean different things for you, or it could be a symbol for you. Also the inner voice. And the third one is through sensations. So for me, sensations is very strong. So when I started out communicating with it, it's the sensations. And as I progress through the method, it starts talking to me through the inner voice. So it's very personal. I mean, it could be different for every single person on the planet because it's your own subconscious, right?
Sure.
So the method goes is that you pick a topic, a problem, a disease, just a thing that's bothering you, right? You bring that into your mind. And then step 2 is you start connecting with your unconscious by simply asking a question. Is my unconscious mind ready to communicate with me on a conscious level? And just wait. Like, don't make an answer appear. Don't try to make anything happen. Just see what's coming up for you. Usually, as I said, it could be sensations. So for example, maybe you're getting like your finger starting to flinch, or you're getting a pain or a certain sensation in your chest. It could be anywhere. So
let me interrupt for a second.
Yeah.
So in our Western culture, very often we are very linear and literal in our approach to things. And you mentioned woo-woo earlier, folks who are concerned about, I don't want to mess with things that I don't understand. And so if you walk over and turn the light off in the room, they go, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, you don't understand electricity. You don't understand how this light's falling on you. You use stuff that you don't understand all the time because you got faith in it. You see that it works. You push that button and the light comes on." So what you're asking us to do is not pay attention to looking for what we expect, but pay attention to everything that's going on. I mean, be aware of your breath, be aware of physical sensations of your body, sounds that you might hear more clearly, or pictures that may emerge. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
You got it.
So this follows. This is very similar to a communication modality called neuro-linguistic programming, which says that we make models of the world. We don't operate in the actual world. We operate in what we think the world is. And we create it physically, and we create it auditorially. We hear, and also visually. So someone who is listening to you might say, "Well, I don't see what you're talking about," because their lead system for communicating with themselves is visual. Or if they go, "That doesn't sound right," perhaps they are more auditory, or "This feels like woo-woo to me." They're more kinesthetic. And that's not that they're don't get those other things. It's that they've got a favored system. So it might be interesting to know. You said that you are more or less a kinesthetic person, that is sensate for you, and that what started to appear to you were sensations. So it might be fair to say that as we're relaxing and going into this state of heightened awareness, that it may come through our key modality, but it may not.
Sure.
So okay, so we get settled, we get comfortable, we get open and receptive and quiet, and we ask I love this part. We ask our unconscious mind a question and wait for its responses, and be aware that it may come through unexpected directions. Okay, I'm ready for the next piece.
Cool. Actually, the guy who wrote the book, I think he started as an NLP practitioner and then progressed into more woo-woo stuff, if you will. So it's interesting that you brought that up for sure. Okay, so you're relaxed, you have a clear intention, you start talking with your unconscious mind, right? After that,
just give us a real good example of a clear intention.
Clear intention would be, I've been struggling with this colleague at work. They annoy me. Or I feel stuck in my work. Right. I'm just thinking about it because I have a client that I'm talking about my work. So that's the example that keeps coming to me. Something very clear and precise. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you could just be, "Oh, I've been feeling really low lately and I don't know why." You don't necessarily know why, but it has to be, you can't just be like, "Oh, whatever, let's chat," because this is just not precise enough, especially if you
do that, that's what you'll get back.
Yeah.
You'll get unfocused notions.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to know.
And you approach this as a problem solving or a direction finding methodology to kind of find out what you want that you may not be consciously aware of.
Yes. And one of the things that he talks about in the book is that we always try to get our way. There's always a positive intention in what we're doing, right? Although it might not come out this way. So that's why later down, when we go through the questions, there's a point where we go to our unconscious and we're like, "Okay, look, what we've been doing hasn't been working. And now I need you to come up with 3 new ways that are positive, don't have the negative consequences, and the whole thing." So you literally give what's the word? You give a program, you give a new program to your unconscious, and it figures it out itself. So you don't have to consciously think of the new ways. You're just like, "Look, this is what I want, give it to me." And you don't have to know it consciously. And it just kind of changes. And I mean, it happened to me before, when I was starting this out, because I didn't know much about NLP or psychology. I was just curious, right? And I had the boy problem. It worked. And I didn't know how the thing changed. It was like this.
Could you tell me what worked looks like? How you knew that it worked? What happened?
It was the how I was relating to boys. It was
Right.
almost like I went to school on Monday and I was totally normal, as I say. Like I
Right.
wasn't weird anymore. I wasn't awkward. I wasn't avoiding them. I was just being myself.
You were
And it was
comfortable in
like,
your own skin being who
yeah,
you were.
yeah. And it was just immediate change, immediate. And I was like, oh, okay, this thing works. And I think I applied it to other things as well, whatever a 13-year-old cares about.
Yeah.
Um, and I remember actually, I taught this to this lady that I met when I lived in London. We met at a personal development event and I was talking to her about it. And she was like, oh, that sounds like a big woo woo to me. And I was like, try it. Like, why not try it? So I wrote everything down and we lost touch. And then she got back in touch with me like 6 months later. And she was like, oh my God, I've tried it and it works. And I was like, you see, I know it works.
That's wonderful. Okay, so what's the next step? What's the next thing we do? We've got our focus and we've put our challenge forward and we've opened our awareness.
Yes. So now, when you get a sensation, a thought, or a picture in your mind, you need to understand whether that means yes or no. Because, like, your unconscious is communicating, but you need to know yes or no, right? So, what you do here again is you say, oh, well, first of all, when you get a thought, sensation, or a picture, or, a sound in your head, just say, oh, thanks for communicating with me. Now, can you tell me whether this means yes? And if it's a yes, could you make it stronger, bigger, whatever? And if it's a no, could you make it weaker or make it disappear altogether? And again, you don't do anything consciously. You just observe what's going on and what's happening. And if you get a no, it's totally cool. Don't push forward. Just say, look, thanks. At this time, it's probably not the best condition because you don't want to do it. As I said, low mood, stress, loud, negative environment, all of that. You want to be in a relaxed space. So if it's that, just come back again. If it's a yes, however, again here, you say, oh, cool. Thank you so much. Now, can we talk about the issue at hand? And then bring up your intention again. This problem that I have with my coworker or me feeling stuck at work. Why is he here? What is it trying to tell me? What's the reason? And again, even with these questions, just kind of see what questions come up for you. It's more intuitive rather than conscious. And again, just lie down or sit and just see what's coming up. And you're going to start maybe hearing your inner voice or seeing some pictures or remembering something that you thought you didn't, it was out of your mind. It could be anything.
Okay.
And if you get the answer and it's unclear to you, just say, okay, thanks for that. What does this mean? If it tells you what it means and you still don't understand, that's totally fine. Say, okay, and you know what? This way isn't working for me anymore. This feeling isn't working for me anymore. I don't want to feel stuck. And I know that you have the best intention in mind, but the way you're trying to get it done isn't working. So now I'm going to ask you to create at least 3 new ways to relate to my current problem, thing, whatever it is for you. And please let me know when you've done with 3 things. That's it. And you just lay there or sit there and wait for the sensation or the thought, a signal again. When that's done, you go back and say, thank you for that. And now, are there any parts of me or my unconscious mind that still don't feel that it's right, or they're against it, or they don't like the new ways? Again here, see whether there's a yes or a no. If a no, you're good. If it's a yes, proceed and just say, okay, those parts that are against the new ways of relating, could you please get together into a little committee and create ways and create new ways for me to relate to this problem, for me to solve this thing that's happening for me in a way that all of my parts are happy. And here again, you just sit and you're present with the process. You're not consciously trying to come up with a solution. And when you get a yes or a no, it's all good. If it's a yes, You just proceed, you thank the unconscious, you just sit in meditation if you feel like it, and you come out of it. If it's a no, that's okay. Just come out another time and repeat the process.
So Rima, do you use this in your coaching? Do you use this process?
I personally don't. I usually end up using the ICF because in personal coaching, you go way deeper. This one, I record.
What is ICF?
The internal family systems.
Okay. So talk to me about what ICF is and how that works.
Okay, ICF is internal family system. And that's, so the unconscious process that I've outlined on your podcast is like a very gentle, soft way of getting in touch with your unconscious if the problems aren't too deep. If the problem is very deep and very persistent, which again, only a coach or a therapist could assess, I would recommend to try internal family systems. I've looked it up on YouTube. I don't think there's a demonstration of it, but there isn't a guidance of it because, you need to do it with a professional. But essentially, go ahead.
No. Finish your thought.
Okay. So internal family systems, the guy that created it was like Steven Schwartz or something. The surname is right. He thinks that, like we actually do have a lot of different parts of us in our unconscious mind that are constantly interacting. And some parts are called protectives. So they protect our wounded parts. So there's so many parts there. And so the protector part has different behaviors. And then the wounded part has different behaviors as well. So you could be overeating and you could think, oh yeah, my problem is that I overeat, and you try all of these diets and the gym and whatever, and it just isn't working. Right. And you're like, what's wrong with me? Why isn't that working? Well, there's probably something deeper going on. And same with everything. Like if you have a relationship pattern and like no matter what, you just keep finding the same men that don't treat you kindly, for example, there's a deeper part there that needs like looking into. So the way that works is it's quite fast. I mean, you don't need that many sessions to heal it fully because what it does, it essentially goes back into that memory and rewrites it. So the part that got wounded gets rewritten. And then you come out of it with a new story and then a new past, if you will. And so you're able to move into the future from a different point.
Which is exactly that little example that I gave, a bit ago about that part of you that's trying to protect you. It's like when you want to go into some esoteric thing that your parents don't understand, they're going, no, work at a bank. And it's not because they don't think you're capable. It might be actually. But it's more that they're afraid. They don't see how what you want can be successful. And because of their limitation, they're trying to protect you from a failure that they would have. And so what you're doing is a rewire here, and that's excellent. So we did this once before, but remind us of your email address because people that want to explore this notion, you make an initial contact. It doesn't cost anything. So what's that email address again?
Yeah. Can I just go back to something you said? Because I thought it was funny.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, actually, my mom, I love her so much, but she still thinks that like what I do is kind of like, what is this? Just get a proper job, And she's supportive of me, but she like literally told me when I was in London and I was walking a friend's dog and I met a dog walker who's a dog walker for half a day. And then in the afternoon, he writes poetry and books for children. And I was telling her about it. And he was like, you see, you could just stay here in Europe, have a dog walking job. You have constant hours. In the afternoon, you find another job. You have constant hours. And then so you have a 9-to-5 job and everything is clear and precise and secure. And I was like, I love you, but it's not for me. So to your point, like my mom supports me very much and she's still, because that's what was ingrained in her, the safety and the money is in the 9-to-5, right? Not some woo stuff on the internet, living in Bali or wherever you want.
Right.
Okay. So sorry, I forgot you asked.
No, that's great.
I derailed.
And folks are in some sort of stuck. They're aware that what they're doing and what they want, but they don't really kind of know where to go. So the starting position to do some of this work with you is just send you an email, right?
Yes. So there's a link to book a call on my website, but I noticed that probably 99 of 100 people want to talk first via email and just be like, hey, this is my problem. And, I'm the unsolvable one. Like, I'm not sure if you've seen this before.
Nobody could be as dumb as me. Everybody's doing better. Right.
And it's like, you're special, but your problems are not.
I love that.
So just email me first, or if you're an Instagram type of person, I just started my Instagram. So find me at RIMA_ENEVA, Rima Eneva. Same for my email as well. It's RIMAENEVA@icloud.com.
Okay. Outstanding. Rima, I know I'm going to have you on regularly because we think so much alike, and we have different trainings that sync up. I like to say that the truth is the truth. It doesn't matter where it comes from. All the wisdom teachings teach them many of the same things, even though they may be from different religions or from non-religions. Truth is truth. The way the human beings function is the way human beings function. And thank you for being with us on the Diner once again. Thank you for all your tips in your little class. And reach out to Rima if you're in a stuck place, because she's, as you can see, she's just a joy to work with. And you get to listen to that accent. So be with us again on the Diner, will you?
Yeah, thank you so much, Steve.
Okay. Talk to you next time. Be with us.
Bye.
Come on by and have a bite at the Crossroad Diner, where your spirit goes when it might be time to change direction.